Hi everyone, this is Sharon. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to continue on with our wonderful Craspire wax seal stamps, and I'm going to mostly work with some pressed flowers that I have, and I thought we'd just work along with a few different projects and see how it works out. So if you tuned in last time, I mentioned that I was going to be working with these two floral ones and this tree of life. We haven't worked with any of those yet, so I'm going to start out with those. If you tuned into if you haven't tuned into the last video, these came from Craspire, and I'll put the name of their website down below in the description, as well as a coupon code that you can take advantage of. They sent these to me a few weeks back, and I'm just trying them all out. I have my burner going here, and I thought I'd give it a little bit of a head start. So for these first two items, I decided to use this dark pink, kind of a rose-colored wax, and I thought that would go really well with this teeny little pressed rose I have. Just a little rosebud, but it's got a little bit of deep pink in there. And what I'm working on first is this vintage envelope. They wrote on it upside down, but I'm going to seal it this way. And what I did was I just tied a piece of thin hemp string around there, and it's open on the side, so if I use this in a journal, I still can use it as someplace to store papers and envelopes, or papers, and this actually has a letter in it already. So I'm going to stick this little flower on here, and then I thought I would just take this wax seal and put that right about there. Sometimes I will Mod Podge the flowers down, and sometimes I don't. In this case, I'm just going to lay it on there and see how that works. As I mentioned last time, I like to get my spoon nice and close. I used 3 of the pellets. I'm going to stick my next ones in there right away and push this down. And that'll adhere that flower on there quite nicely. I'll let that sit. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is, my sister-in-law Judy told me she needs some new bookmarkers, so I thought I'll make a bookmark. So what I did was take up an old time card, cut that up a little bit. I found this pressed rose from my garden, and this one I did Mod Podge on because I wanted to, there's quite a few layers, and I wanted to make sure that those are preserved decently. And then on top of that, I'd put this little piece of cheesecloth. So my idea is to stamp right on top of the cheesecloth, and then I just layered up a piece of dictionary page underneath. Now for this one, I decided to bring back the oval rose because I just can't get enough of that nice oval. We did work with this one last time, but I'm going to try it again. So while my wax is melting, we'll take a look at this one. And that's how that turned out. I think that's really pretty, the colors. Okay, we will set that aside and move this one over. I've decided to choose some different colors today, ones that I don't usually work with, so it'll be fun to see all the different colored waxes. I'm really liking this dark kind of a rose color. All right, I think that one is ready to go. So here we go. Now, when you have the botanicals, it is a little difficult to get a nice flat surface. All right, I think what I'll do is rid of that pink wax and we'll switch to a different color. So what I usually do is just let it cool for a few seconds and then take a paper towel and wipe that out. Okay, so now I will switch to, I'm going to switch to some gold. I've got this little, this brighter gold and a little bit of a bronzy gold, and I think I'll mix those and then show you what I'm going to work on next. All right, so this one, we'll take that off. And we didn't get quite the full impression, but like I said last time, that doesn't really bother me. I don't mind that some of the ends are missing. I think it just gives it a lot of character. So that's quite pretty. Okay, for my next two items, I have some pressed lavender from my garden, and that's been sitting in a big dictionary for about a month now. What I did here was I took some of this baking paper actually and glued it onto a book page, and I like the way you can see the print through there. And now I just took a little piece of string and tied 3 pieces together, and I'm going to stick my wax seal right in the middle. So I was kind of feeling the gold with this purple. See how that looks. And for this one, I think I'm going to use this one again. I've seen other people experiment with mixing colors, and I think that's kind of fun. Now this one, I mean, they're pretty much tone on tone, but it should just give a little bit of a variegation in there. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, so this one definitely will not be round. I'm going to hold this one down because it's a little uneven with that knot. I maybe could have gone just below the string knot so it isn't quite so bumpy. Okay, and my next one is similar. So I've got 3 more. I didn't tie them together this time. I'm just laying a piece of string that I tied a little loop in. I'm just laying that on top. And I'm putting all of this on top of like a vintage, what do I want to say, ledger book page. So I'll let my wax melt. Since I started my last video, I've been spending a lot of time on Pinterest looking for different ideas on how to use wax seals, and there's just a ton out there. So it's going to be fun. Okay, so even though that's not round, I really like the way that looks. It's pretty. So now I will reuse this in probably one of my handmade journals. Either turn it into a tag or a journaling card or something like that. You could even incorporate this entire page in as a page in the book. So I think that turned out nice. All right, let's slide this one in. And I usually use a toothpick just to stir up the wax, make sure everything underneath is melted. I know you can't see that very well. Just move it in a tad. Okay, and for these, again, I used 3 of the pellets. So for this one, I think I decided I was going to use this stamp. When it's bumpy, that wax really does like to run off, so I guess you gotta act quick. So that moved on me a little bit, but that's okay. I can repress that whole page and get it to lie flat, or I can glue down the tops or Mod Podge them down. Okay, we'll let that one sit. Now I think I need to clean this off. I'm just dipping the extra wax off to the side so I don't have quite so much to wipe out. Like I said, these can get hot, so you don't want to be touching the metal too much. All right, so my gold is cleaned out. And for my next couple of items, I'm picking this dark kind of charcoal color, which is really different. Not something I would normally navigate toward, but I thought, let's give it a try. All right, so this one should be pretty well done. Pretty. I didn't get a real clean impression, but again, I think it gives me the effect I'm looking for. I should probably demonstrate a couple of these on a nice flat surface so you can really see the impression. Let's see, I'm gonna pick a piece of book page here. And because my next 2 again will be on top of some flowers. So I'll just save that for later, and we'll take a nice clean impression of all 3 of these stamps that I'm working with today. All right, I hope I'm not running out of flame here. So for my next 2 items, I'm going to use the charcoal on both of those. I took a piece of coffee dyed paper, and I'm just going to use this as a page in a journal, future journal. And what I did was I Mod Podged a piece of old antique paper and then this flower petal onto there. So I'm going to put my seal right in the middle. And I think for this one, I'm going to revisit the one I used from last time, which is just this kind of flourish. I thought that would look pretty neat in that dark charcoal. So my wax is taking its time. I put 4 in this time because I knew I was doing 2 different items, but maybe 3 would melt a little bit faster. I'm really excited to see what this dark color looks like. It's got a little bit of a metallic sheen to it also. Some of them that I have in my collection are a real matte color, but I tend to like the ones that have that little metallic finish to it. And they just give it a little bit more of a shine. I think I'm starting to melt my plastic toothpick. All right. Let's see what we can do with this guy. I think those are pretty well done. Okay, I'm going to throw a couple more in there. So something that I thought maybe I would do on the next one is to finish it off and rub it with this metallic luster. That's what it looks like. It comes in a tin. You just take your finger and rub it off and it'll put a nice metallic shine on it. So I'm going to try that. I've done that in the past with some of my seals and I really like the way it looks. All right. Don't want to pick it up too soon, but usually doesn't take very long. And that's what that one looks like. It is quite dark, but striking. I'm debating whether to put some of that metallic luster on here or not. Let's see, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? I think I'm going to wait. I think I want to leave that one as is. Okay, so for this next one, I just took a piece of crinkled book page and I thought it would make a nice journaling spot. So I folded it up like an envelope and I Mod Podged this flower on there. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of wax paper and just slide it under that flap because I want to put my seal right here, but I don't want it to actually seal the top to the bottom layer so that it can be opened and written in. So we'll see how that turns out. And for that one, I think I'm going to try this one. All right, I'm going to try not to melt my toothpick. Must be pretty hot. All right, so let's see how we do with this surface. Oh, got some little splatters on there. And I've got the thicker part on the bottom, which is probably a good thing since you want that to have a little bit of a thickness when you open and close it, hanging off the edge. I probably hung it off the edge a little bit more than I intended to, but we'll see how that looks. Okay, so I think I need to get rid of my gray. And let's see, what do we want next? I'm going to switch out my color to something kind of a dark teal color. So I'm going to clean off my spoon. And this is what the color looks like. So I'll get those going. All right, see what we ended up with here. There's my seal. And as you can see, the wax paper worked nicely. And now you can open that up and close it, and you still have your wax seal on there. And this is the one I thought I would try to add a little bit of this copper luster. So you can just see how that brings out the highlights. I really like the way that looks. So that's making me change my mind about this one. I think I'm going to go ahead and put some of that on there, see what it looks like. just really brings out the highlights of the stamp. Pretty. Okay, this seems to be taking a little bit longer, and I believe that is my fault because my tea light is really getting down to the bottom, so hopefully it'll last through the end of the video. So for my last three, I decided to do something very simple because I wasn't sure where I was going to go with these. I just ripped out an old dictionary page, and I have a couple of rose petals that just fell apart on one of the roses I had, and then one of my flower leaves. So what I'm going to do is just simply put my stamps just over the top, the edge of each of these. And then I'll have them on this paper, and I can tear those out and incorporate those into any kind of paper project, whether it be a tag or journal card, put it as an embellishment on a journal page or something like that. So I'm going to take the Tree of Life, which I don't believe I've used that one yet, so we're going to work with that one. And then the other two florals. And I'm going to try to get a little bit bigger impression on these so you can see the full image on these. These, again, like I said, a lot of times I will Mod Podge down my flowers, but these are just single petals, so I'm just going to put the stamp right on top and leave them loose like that. See how this teal looks with, these are pretty neutral colors, so pretty much anything goes, I think. Okay. Try to get a nice round blob on these so we get a better impression. I'm going to stick my next ones in right away, and we'll try this guy. Okay, and then I'm going to put the Tree of Life up on the green leaf. The hardest part about this whole thing is waiting for the wax to melt. It's been kind of fun working with some different colors today. Before I bought the pellets, I had like 3 different colors of sticks and pretty much used those same 3 colors the last couple of years, so it's been fun trying different colors. Oop. I'm one of the messiest crafters around, so I'm surprised I haven't made a bigger mess yet today. Okay, this is going to take a little bit. I don't know if I should swap out my tea light or try to make it last. I still have a flame. It does seem to help if you swish it around a little bit. Okay, I'm going to call that one good. For the last one, I thought I'd just throw in this little bit of green just to kind of see how that might look. Okay, so this one, I thought I would use this guy. And this one's probably ready. I'll hold it up closer to the camera once they're all done. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't have probably enough wax to give it a full circle, but we got the full flower in there. I just like the way that looks with the little petal hanging off the side. All right, well, that one came out pretty good. I had a little bit more wax in there, so close to a round seal on that one. I would say if you like a full nice round seal, I would use probably 4 of the pebbles or pieces. I don't know what you call these. I call them wax pebbles. All right, I'm gonna try to stir this up, and I'm going to make this my last one because I really think I'm going to run out of flame. But these are fairly flat, so I think you can get a pretty decent impression of what these look like. I think ideally if you wanted to get more of a swirl effect with 2 tones, it might be good to wax or to melt one color and then maybe throw the off color in at the end and just kind of swirl it in there. Mine are very well mixed, so you probably can't even tell or get any kind of swirl effect out of it. All right, I'm going to put this right on the corner of that leaf. I got quite a bit of wax in there this time, so I think I'll get a pretty good impression. All right, clean this off. This is really a pretty blue too. I don't know if the camera will pick up the color decently, but I do like it. All right, let's see what this guy looks like. So there's my tree of life. With these darker colors, it is hard to see the impression under the camera, and there are the other 2. And now I'm just wondering if I want to maybe add a little bit of luster on there so you can see the color. I'm going to try my silver. See if I can get something on there. No, that one's not going to work because my silver's dried up. I'm going to try my gold. Let's see. I'm running out of fingers. Okay, this is my gold. And it's, again, that metallic luster. I'm just going to rub over the top. And it really does bring out the colors nicely. All right, so I will hold this up again. Now you can get a little bit nicer idea of what the impression looks like. All right, well, I am going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me. And I really had fun doing this, and hopefully I can do a few more craft with me's. I'm not really great at this yet, but a little practice will make perfect, I hope. So until next time, thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.